Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's Fireside Creators. I am your host, Reverend Dr. Sherry Pallas. Tonight we are chatting about women getting into good trouble with a true boss bitch, Bec Canford. Polls are closing soon. Please vote. If you have, thank you. Please remember to keep all comments and questions related to the show topic and that this is a safe space. Thank you for joining us, and I'm looking forward to all of your comments and questions. If you're on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe. If you're on Facebook, grant StreamYard access so we can see your name when you have a comment or a question. Thank you for welcoming us into your home and joining the conversation. I appreciate you all. The follow-up course for my book has been released, and I forgot to pull it up. So just go to my webpage. Go check it out. It has great reviews so far, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts about my book and the follow-up course. Once you enroll, you have access forever, including when I add new contributors, which I have 3 or 4 more coming in really shortly. I'm so proud of it, and I hope you love it too. We can get beyond the destructive dogma, individualism, racism, homophobia, and the patriarchy if we do it together. I hope you enjoy the course. Talk tonight and all these wonderful people. Get in now because prices are going up as soon as more contributors are coming in. Go to my website and find the book club tab, and all the info is there. I can't wait to see you there, and thanks in advance. Okay, let's meet our guest and get smarter. Bec Canford is a self-identified Bapticostal-misfit from Atlanta, Georgia, floating in a mystical world of ecumenism, I can't say this word, and interfaith conversations. She's also one tough mother and an urban missiologist wrestling with just practices and charity. Bec currently works with the Unhoused in Atlanta, as well as teaching at Candler's School of Theology at Emory University. Hi, Bec.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm pretty amazing for being where we are right now.
Oh, I love to hear it. And I love you were like counseling me before the show. It's been a wild couple days. Well, a wild couple years, actually. So I am so excited. And I have to tell everybody here that the reason why Bec is on the show is because she's amazing. And I'm one of her biggest fans because she's a total boss bitch. But she said at the Wild Goose Festival this year that God's name is Juanita and she's a crack whore and loves us all anyway. And is that the way it's phrased? Did I say that correctly?
Sounds good to me.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And Patrick just melted with that. So both of us worked to get you on the show because of your just down to earth personality and really getting shit done. You are out there fighting the social justice the way it should be. So what got you started into this?
Wow, that's a long rabbit hole to jump down, but we'll basically say
Let's go.
I was reading the prophets in the Bible as a good Pentecostal seminary student, and I got really irritated and pissed off about stuff, especially people in margins and those that would be considered objectified, oppressed, the underdog, and just kind of frustrated and wanted to do something about it, and realized it was the church's job to do something about it. But the church that I was attending at the time that wasn't really doing a lot for justice. They love charity and they love to put it up on the big screen and say,
Right.
Look how good we are. But when it came to justice, it wasn't work that we were doing. So that was something that really, got me going.
I did my book video at an evangelical church that has banners and everything that said radical diversity or radical inclusivity. And their charity work was planting flowers 3 times a year. Use them as an example for the problems in the church. Doors locked, radical inclusivity, and planting flowers. I wanted to know how that helped all of the homeless people surrounding the property. That is, it's really at the core of what religion is doing right now, right?
Sometimes I think they've all missed the boat basically kind of like the premise of your book, like, everything's just ruined because of it. And I'm really diving into a little bit of Bonhoeffer's concept of a religionless Christianity. Personally, I look at Christianity not as a religion, but as a practice, much in the way that you would like practice Buddhism or, practice Tai Chi. So I try to practice Christ following and try to be obedient to those premises. But when it comes to my spirituality, I mean, that's all. It's all over the place because I find beauty and I find God everywhere.
And that's what we should do, right? We should be seeing God in everything, and Jesus in the homeless people on the corner, not having that. I mean, I'm constantly saying how ironic it is that 2,000 years later, we are back to where the Pharisees are running everything and saying that law means more than love. And when Christianity is the main proponent of that, it just makes me shake my head. To the point I think I have neck problems at this point because of it. Like how can you, and I catch myself saying the same things. It's like, how can you say that you love God and you don't love your neighbor, and that this is who you follow? And I think a lot of that with my fear in this election right now is that we're really going to see how many of us truly love our neighbor or hate our neighbor, because I think our votes are going to be indicative of that.
At this point of the evening, all I have is prayers and hope.
I know.
And yeah, so hope is my protest tonight.
So what are you doing on a regular basis to propel and practice your beliefs?
I think that's a multifaceted answer to that question, but my biggest thing is really trying to do a lot of healing work in myself. And people are probably going to be like, "What? I thought you were like a SJW and out there and doing the thing." I totally am, but that whole like angry and pissed off about stuff did not get me anywhere fast, right? It got me in the hospital a couple times and in the neurologist a couple times, and even hanging out in the psych ward a couple of times. So I started doing a lot of work for myself, and that's been my biggest spiritual practice, because as I heal, I find the world heals, and I'm able to just be really present with people, with whatever's going on. And I currently work with policing alternatives and diversion here in Atlanta. We're an alternative to the police that was really sort of founded out of protest movements and movements to run by sex workers and people without homes and trans sex workers, especially in Midtown Atlanta, to just to say, hey, we don't need punishments. We don't need jail cells. What we need support.
Right.
So that's what I'm currently doing right now. I am kind of migrating my way over to mental health field. I'm a person that lives with bipolar psychosis and maybe a little bit of being a prophet. So there's a fine line between the two, right? And there was some peyote in there somewhere, so that definitely played into it. But I'm really interested in mental health world because I've worked in, I guess you'd say, homelessness arena here in the city of Atlanta since 2012. And before that, kind of parachurch ministries revolving around people experiencing homelessness. And I don't know, I'm very interested in exploring the mental health realm and seeing what those systems are like, and just learning as much as I can, seeing if we can't make a healthier world. And I think that's part of the justice work too, especially mental health justice and erasing the stigma. I mean, therapy is a luxury. Like, let's just be honest. Most people are in survival mode. They live paycheck to paycheck. They can't pay for it. So anyways, long answer to your question. Hopefully that answered it, because I don't know.
I know, like all the homeless people around. I live in LA, and there's a lot of them. And I try and take care of them as much as I can. But one of the things that has really been really obvious to me since I mean, in Florida, it was mayonnaise central, right? I mean, I carried stuff in my car for weeks because I couldn't find a homeless person where I lived in Florida. Here, I could literally just look out my window and see a few. And one of the things that really changed in me was I've never been when I was an evangelical, I was a judgmental bitch, so I can't really say that. But I never really was like, oh, well, they're on drugs or they're gonna go buy drugs. It just wasn't my thing. I didn't really care all that much. And I've had some friends that have said, well, they do it on their own. Once you get on drugs, you're going to be homeless anyway. It's a, cause and effect. And I've really seen so much that A, people don't intend to be drug addicts. And B, if I was homeless, I wouldn't be sober. And I don't understand how anybody who could even demand such a thing or expect such a thing from someone that is living in such a situation. I mean, I see people walk by and go, oh my God, he's drunk. Well, do you want him to be sober and realize all of this? And I also see my neighbors being more kind to raccoons and rats and protecting them more than they do the homeless. So I've been very vocal. Anyone who goes, oh no, Sherry's being vocal, but saying why is a rat more important to you than this human over here? And that type of mentality is just beyond me. I mean, religion aside or anything like that, audio's going in and out. Can you guys hear me? Okay. But I don't understand the dehumanization, especially in the name of God, because there are thousands of churches here and they all have walls around them or 8-foot high fences, and the homeless people just surround it. No outreach, none of that. And I don't understand how anybody can have any type of empathy and allow this to happen on our streets.
Yeah, a couple of thoughts. One, with the dehumanization of people, I think we do get caught in judgment and we assume that a lot of stuff is, people's fault. And that's not to say that people don't make bad choices, because, we all do. But, we also all have coping mechanisms, and some of us have coping mechanisms that are healthy, and some of us eat a shit ton of cheesecake, and I mean,
hey, I resemble that remark.
Man, I was just hoping there's something left in the refrigerator. You know what I'm saying? But we have these coping mechanisms. So who are we to judge about how another person handles issues? And also, if you think about it, a lot of our people who are experiencing homelessness are neurodiverse. And these are folks that interact with the world, even the spiritual plane, in a different way than we do. And Sherry, I'm assuming you're probably an empath. My dog started scratching loudly now, so I'm sorry if you hear that. But I'm assuming you're an empath.
It's okay.
Okay, good. Some empaths don't know how to handle the emotions that aren't theirs. They just feel everything, and they feel it so deeply. And for those who haven't learned how to be kind of a hollow bone, if you will, and let things pass through or transmute through them, and not absorb that energy, like they're constantly feeling all these things. And if I was experiencing neurodiversity in being homeless and feeling all the stuff going on in the world, like I definitely would stay high. I definitely would not be. Yeah, I wouldn't want to try to feel everything that I was feeling.
Well, and just being cognizant of the fact that you're on the streets and having to deal with all that. Let's not think about that. I mean, seeing all the and Grant, I had a huge awakening when I first got here. I mean, I was oh my God, someone needs help. I'm running to them. Pretty quickly, I realized that my safety was in jeopardy in doing so. And then for a while, I felt useless, the whole savior complex and stuff like that. Now it's more of like, I just want to be your friend. What can I do to help you? This year, I'm not going to do Thanksgiving. It was just too much last year. But I'm always, doing stuff to try and or even just a hello, just to make them feel human when so much of society dehumanizes them. And especially here in LA, you can't get an apartment anywhere, even rent control, for under $25,000 a year. So yes, our minimum wage went up and stuff like that, but that's still just covering, bare necessities. I see people here all the time. One of the clear indicators in LA, especially here, because we're not necessarily near an airport, is someone who is pulling a suitcase. You know that they are newly homeless, because the people who have been homeless for a while, they've lost their suitcases. And I see so many people not on drugs, not, bad situations happened in their lives and now they're on the streets. Fast forward 6 weeks, they're hooked on meth. And again, it's part of their coping mechanism is, what do? I can't even handle this. They're sleeping on the sidewalks, people walking by them. I saw this guy sleeping in a full sleeping bag. And as I was walking my dog, a dog peed on them and the owner just let him. And it's like being an empath when I got here, I got why people turn away. If they don't see that, it doesn't hurt as bad. But I also promised myself I wouldn't turn away, because when we turn away, that's when it continues and we dehumanize them.
Yeah, and I think what's really core to Jesus's teaching that unfortunately was sidetracked by all this atonement theory and everything, but really I think what Jesus was saying was that you're God's, and he says it in John chapter 10. I know I just lost half your audience right then and there.
No,
They're like, we're heretics.
no.
But that's what Jesus was saying. He's like, no, you're God's. He's here to teach another way for you to remember your divinity. He comes and he tells his disciples, like, you're always going to have the poor with you. That's not some cop out that he's given them to not take care. He's saying, as a Christ follower, you're always going to be in relationship with these people, and you're supposed to see people as God. He's saying, you look into a person's face, you see the divine image within them, you treat them that way. It's really like the prohibition of hospitality in the Tanakh, in the Hebrew Testament, right? Hospitality is there for a reason. The reason Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed wasn't because of their modern same-sex love. It was because they were neglecting to take care of the poor, and they wanted to treat the foreigners, the strangers, the aliens, the angels as a sexual object to conquer, to hurt, to devastate. And if I treated you, Dr. Sherry, as you were God, I wouldn't try to do that to you. I would be at your feet asking you for forgiveness or wisdom or healing. And we got to get to a point where we are seeing God in each other, because that's what it's going to take, I think.
Yeah, I no longer consider myself a Christian because I think it's a bad word. And when people ask me what I follow or what I consider myself now, I just say love is my religion. And I know that that's a cliche in so many arenas, but that is how I gauge myself. And that is why I'm still a Jesus follower. My degree is in comparative religion, so I got to really choose the buffet of beliefs. And I'll admit that, I was able to go, okay, I really like the questions from Judaism. I really like the lack of attachment in Buddhism. I really like the democracy of the faiths in Hinduism. I love the love of Jesus. And that is where I gauge myself. No more laws, no more rules, no more commandments, nothing. It's what would love do? I think that What Would Jesus Do was one of the greatest marketing campaigns ever, but it also failed immensely. And proof of that is in our society today. So even taking it one step further to say, you know what, let's take the gods out of the situation, because that tends to make us fight. Let's just look on the love. Let's just focus on what would love do. I told you when we backstage that I was a victim of road rage yesterday, and there was no love there. I will full on admit. Last night I laid in bed thinking I just should have let them hit me. All of those things. But then when I go back to what would love do, Sherry, after I grimace and go, fine, it's part of the let it go. You have no idea. Maybe they lost their mother that morning. Maybe something happened. It wasn't about you, even though it reignited all of this trauma in my life. Taking myself out of the situation and seeing the humanity in them, I think should be all of our goals. And that's how we will work and walk in love. Right? Do you think?
Yeah, compassion. You got it. You hit it on the head.
Shakira says, the sad thing is that so many have an academic understanding of being relational. True. But what happened to walking out and being relational through love? Oh, I like that.
That's good. That's good. I think for some of us, it's really difficult to stay in a relationship with other people. I'm an 8 on the Enneagram. I'll be the first to say that we are really bad as 8s of being vulnerable around anybody. Like, I will be goddamned if somebody knows my bank account's under, $50. I'm not going to let anybody know. I'm not going to let anybody know that my cupboard don't have any rice in it that week. But I've got a few close people, and it's really hard to stay in relationship with folks when you haven't done like the healing work on yourself. And for the longest time, I didn't do the healing work on myself. I was just busy trying to accomplish the will of God in my life, or follow the calling, or be anointed, or whatever, right? Like, I was trying to do all the stuff for Jesus, but I was just ignoring so many things. And it was really hard for me to stay in a relationship. So much so as I would just like walk away and like burn bridges. I mean, pour fire on them. Now I do burn some bridges on occasion. I just practice boundaries, like the great Tupac Shakur said, I want you to eat, but you don't necessarily get an invitation to my table. Right. So
Right.
like, I want the world to be good, but I'm not going to invite my childhood molester to come into my house and have
Right.
access to my child.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. There's boundaries in relationships, and I think even if we look at scripture, like, there's a way to like call out people, and there's a way to call in people, and there's a way to restore people and to love people. And that's been mishandled so much by so many different churches and denominations and places. And I'm guilty of it too. Like, I've cut off relationships with people and not restored relationships. I've wanted people to have a great life just far, far the fuck away from me. And yeah, so sometimes I'm not real good at that, but I don't know. Here's to changing from glory to glory, right? And maybe being better at being in a relationship.
Well, and I think there's two sides of the spectrum, right? I think a lot of people leave church and they're like, oh, I've seen the light and all of that was bad. Not addressing the trauma within inside, not addressing the fact that you believed all of this stuff and possibly harmed others in the process, not really looking within, again, just switching the platform or switching the topic, but not really getting in. I was fortunate. Wow, I cannot believe I just said those words. That's pretty cool. I was fortunate to have gone through a lot of my deconstruction before the internet or anything like that. So I went through it alone. So there was a lot of self examination and pressure also because of the book. Because if I was going to say all this stuff, I better be able to stand up and actually do it. But it was one of those things that had to happen in order to get the message out. Because if I didn't heal, I was just going to cause more trauma. And trauma was what I was trying to put aside by doing so, not carry with me and just be like, okay, well, now I know that this is not right. So I'm fine. And I think a lot of people do that. And in doing so, prolong the trauma healing and also just sidestep all of the things that need to be healed. Hi, Jan. Hi, Rebecca. Hi, Betsy. Hi, Mo. I haven't said hi to everybody. Sarah, my girl. Liam, hi. How are you? I feel like that show when we were kids where they said, hi, Sandy. Hi, Sue.
I love all those people.
Right. Betsy says, It is wonderful to say you want to be relational, but no one wants to actually do anything. You got to do the work, both on yourself and your boundaries and all of those things, because without those, you're going to continue hurting others and yourself. Boundaries are hard. Boundaries are really hard, but it also, for me, has translated into self-love.
I also feel like part of adulthood is just being like, let's get together, let's get together, let's get together. And then like that never works because it's like everybody's so busy. So it's like really being intentional and being like, no, let's not just say, let's get together. Here's a date. Here's 3 dates that I'm available and 3 times. Let's do the things that you want to do. Also like, you know, kind of I'm scatterbrained, super neurodivergent, bipolar, Capricorn, like just, I'm just strung, right? So I'm like, let's hang out. And if you want to come over and watch me like terrorize clean while I'm hanging out with you, let's do that. Like, cause that's the thing that I do. And you can come be a witness to that as you know, as you unload and we share, you know, watching me like get the dog hair out of the carpet.
Well, and community is what we lose when we leave the church, right? And so you know, Carl Forehand says, you know, we go out into the desert. And it can be, like I said, that's why it threw me when I said I was fortunate to have done it all alone. But because of that self-introspection, because of checking facts against myths, because of really looking at a God that technically I as a human were better than, more empathetic, more compassionate than the God that I was taught about, I could really go in and do that. But the community, there was none. It was during the week. Oh my God, I have to work. I'm a single mother. I have to, you know, go through all of this stuff. My whole childhood is blowing up. Let's get drunk on Friday. Let's get drunk on Saturday. Let's hit the beach on Sunday. And that was the way that I had to cope until far too late in life, until I could really have the privilege to say, it's time for me now. It's time to figure out why I'm so fucked up and really work through that.
Yeah, I think there's definitely time to go out into the desert. And the thing that I love about the desert places for the prophets, it's where they're restored. And, you know, they're often suffering from a breakdown in community and, you know, lament and anger. And they're very honest with God. Like they curse. And God, I mean, who else curses at God? Who has that kind of intimacy with God, like the Holy One or whatever? But these wild people, they're restored in the prophets, and I mean, in the desert. And then also we see in the book of Revelation that in this big, huge cosmic imagery of Revelation 13, we see that the woman who's being chased by the dragon goes to the desert, to the place that's prepared for her. So the desert, while it can be lonely, it can be a place of seasoning for deep intimacy for oh, that's my dog. He's not throwing up. Just want to let y'all know. He gets hairballs because he licks everything. So
I love that. Oh I'm gonna have to make a meme out of that.
Let me mute right now. Oh,
so appropriate timing. That is hysterical. I gotta say, one time we were in the VIP and my dog was very sick. He was very old, but he started pooping right behind me. I was like, it's time to go. Gotta love live shows. Oh, that was hilarious. I love dogs.
I was at a conference one time, and my then husband, partner thing, whatever he was like, let's give this famous speaker a ride in our car that we had been traveling across country with for like 2 weeks. And I was like, yeah, sure, it's a good idea. And I forgot that he had like eaten chicken like a day earlier. And he wasn't real good about like making sure things went in the proper place, like a trash can. So we're driving down the road with this pretty famous ex-evangelical Christian, and a box of old chicken falls on the guy. And every time I see that guy, he like kind of waves and like walks the other way. I'm like, oh, I am forever the old chicken lady. I was like, that was my ex-husband. But, you know, I don't want to throw him under the bus either. I guess I just did, but.
Oh, I got it. I have a guess. Was that John Pavlovitz?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
Have I offended John lately with anything gross or weird? I don't think so. But there's been
I could
several.
just totally see him being like, hey.
I'll do without the old chicken.
Yeah.
One more disturbing and gross story for you. A good friend of mine, Mike Morrell, was like, "Hey, Beck, there's a young woman from Lithuania who's over here, and she's doing this very postmodern, emerging Christian plant. She'd like to come hang out with you and Church of the Misfits." And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be great." And Mike was like, "And she wants you to cook fried chicken because I'm a Southern woman, but I'm not real good in the kitchen, so I'm trying to do it. I have the doors open to my house because I'm cooking a lot of stuff." And, when the doors are open in Georgia, we have these really large cockroaches that
Palmetto
can
bugs.
come into the house. So my guest from Lithuania is eating, and I look up, and there's a giant cockroach on my ceiling, and it falls into her plate. And I am just like, and then her mother goes, "Oh, I think it's time for us to go." And I was like, "I swear I'm not a nasty person." Anyways, Southern kitchens used to have outdoor kitchen spaces. And so, to keep the house from getting hot, mine does not, but I have learned an important lesson not to cook with the doors open.
There you go. There you go. That actually happened. I had years ago, I had, what did I call it? Where no one had anyone to go to on Thanksgiving, an orphan Thanksgiving is what I called it. And everybody came over from work, and at the end of the night, everybody's still partying and having a good time of, still eating. My friend bought his biker friends over. There was like 10 of them that walked in, and a girl put her helmet down, and 5 minutes later I look over and there is a palmetto bug crawling in her helmet. I never saw them again. I was like, how can I get this out before anybody sees? And of course, the friend that brought them goes, there's a palmetto bug. Again, doors open all day long. Everybody's hanging by the pool. Yeah, those damn bugs.
I have some of my friends who are unhoused will remind me of things sometimes. Like when my clothes are on backwards, which happens a lot, despite the fact that I have a master's degree, but apparently I don't know how to put on clothes. So they'll remind me sometimes that my clothes are on backwards. One time my car wasn't quite as clean as it should have been. And one of my friends who was unhoused was like, "Oh, Becky, are you staying in your car right now?" And I was just like, "Okay, it's definitely time for me to go do the car wash." But my friends who live in Atlanta that are unhoused, I mean, they keep me humble, and they pray for me too. Like just some powerful prayers. Like I don't know, just powerful.
It's odd to me that some of my favorite people in LA are the unhoused around me. I look forward to seeing them. I watch out for them. They get picked on a lot. And if I am aware of it, then I'm the first one to still run out there and be like, no, you better leave them alone. But that's my goal. My goal is that everybody start competing and using their ego for good. To say, you know what, I fed this many people today. How many did you feed? As opposed to, I'm going to the moon and we're going to, move to Mars and do all this stuff because we're just spoiled brats and we've ruined this whole planet. My goal is to get everybody to really ignite their ego in the opposite of the way that it's been done in this country for years. To really say, you know what, I want to be that person because it makes me feel so good. It makes me feel so good when I can help someone and see a smile on their face, or for them to say bless you as I'm helping them out. That's how I think that we should all be getting our egos going and saying, what can I do? And get a competition of goodness out there as opposed to a race for space.
Let's start that competition of goodness.
Let's do it.
There's actually a friend of mine up in Wilmington, North Carolina. Oh my God, I can't remember. Anywho, she has this whole thing where one day she just like says, "All right, everybody, list all your acts of good," and that's what she does that in memory of her father. And
Nice.
Becky is her name. Oh, see, all Rebeccas are just great people.
Okay, Becky.
Becky, not barbecue Becky. That's
Right.
and not Becky of the rap song.
Right.
Go down that, but it's very Song of Solomon. Very, very. My lover is tall amongst the trees, and his
There you
fruit
go.
is
I
sweet
love
to my
that.
lips. Yeah.
Baby Got Back is a Song of Solomon. I love that. A modern day. Yeah, a couple years ago, I did a moment of love and got someone from every continent to stop and send someone love, just mentally. So they didn't even have to do anything. It was like just stop and fill yourself with love right now and send it to someone. And that was such a cool movement. I've been so busy ever since. But yeah, I think we should definitely be like maybe for this month, calling out the good deeds. I don't post pictures online. I don't think that unhoused, I'm sorry, people should be denigrated in that way or used for marketing or anything like that.
Poverty porn.
Right, right. I mean, I'm constantly watching these videos, going, "Why is someone filming? Why are you filming? Just go help." But to really get out there and to get that ego going as a competition, I think would be awesome.
I think so. I recently did Yom Kippur with my rabbi, he's like a boo Jew. He's like super cool, but he's just awesome. But anyways, we did Yom Kippur, and then he was like, "Listen, for the fast, you're gonna Isaiah 58 fast, so you're gonna go out and you're gonna do justice, and then we're gonna list what we fasted." And like, I was just amazed at all the people that listed like the things that they fasted, and as I said, in this very progressive Jewish Day of Atonement. And then the thing that I was really blown away by this day is that he was like, now is a time to release all the commitments that you made over the year and all the broken promises and to let them go. If they don't serve you anymore, you're released from it. And I was like, that is so good. Like so much we can learn from this beautiful tradition. And anyways, grateful for that. But yeah, my rabbi, Mitch, he's out there. He's awesome. He's so cool.
Yeah, I think that all of us have to release a lot each year, right? Other people's expectations, other people's condemnations, what you can and can't do, goals you didn't reach that you have to forgive yourself for, and all of those types of things. My book constantly says the onus is on us. I stop looking at someone else for your problems. You take control. It is on us. And I really hope this election is going to bring that back. I always laugh that the GOP used to be the party of personal accountability, but it did. It really, that was their whole speech. It's proven to be another fallacy, but to have some personal accountability on the good that we're doing in this world, not just the wealth that we've acquired, not how many cars we have, but truly the good that we can do in this world, because the cars aren't going to last after we're gone, but the people who we touched will continue to say our names and say that person helped me, or that person was cool, that person showed me love. None of the wealth will be there to continue on, only the memory of the goodness that you've done.
I love that. I love that. Think about the, treasure in heaven versus the wealth here, where the rust and something. Somebody can help me out there. It's not moss. I don't know why moss is in my head. Moths, Moths, moss and rust destroy. But I think about that a lot. Like, where's our wealth? Where's that treasure? I also like James 5 because it's in the New Testament and it's really like pissy in your face, and it's like, weep and wail, you rich, your wealth is gone. You forgot to give to the laborer, mother Well, you know what I mean.
Right. Today, last night, I posted "Fu Trump" was trending at #1 on X last night. It still is today. It's not #1 anymore, but there's like 350,000 um, posts, tweets. There'll always be Twitter, but so I posted yesterday, "Fu Trump" trending at #1 the night before the election is not a good sign for him. And I can't believe how many people attacked me by saying, "Oh, and you're a reverend? Oh, how dare you? Why are you being so mean?" And like, I literally just reported on what was going on. But the amount of criticism that is leapt onto us that we have to be passive and say, "Okay, just go ahead, hurt everybody. Go ahead, do everything because I love God," I think is a huge myth within the church. We need to get back to Jesus condemning the religious people who hurt people, calling them vipers, flipping tables because of the wealth in the church, doing those types of things. But automatically, people who support a rapist come back to me and say, "What seminary did you go to? How dare you say something so mean?" Look, all I said was that it was trending. I'm not the one who did this. But to come at us and make us be perfect because of our careers and because of what we have chosen to do and because we want to fight for justice, to say that we have to be passive in the process of social injustice is something that I can't do. It's just not how I was made. People are always telling me to calm down and watch what I'm saying. And it just triggers me and goes, "No, I'm not doing it. I wasn't built that way. I can't. I will die of an ulcer or a heart attack if I have to keep this in. It's wrong and I have to speak out." That is the Jesus in me.
Yeah, and he didn't get killed so we could feel bad about our
Right.
sins and cry a
Right.
little bit in the service. He
Right.
got killed because he spoke out
Right.
against power.
Shakira, what are you saying? What is truth when is so many believers it should be withheld because it burns their ears and their hearts? Not sure I understand what you're saying. Can you clarify? Sarah, we tend to forget that Jesus was not meek. Yeah, I mean, I assert in my book that he farted. He woke up with morning erections. He was human, So to make him blah, I mean, he had to have this huge sense of humor. There's no way that he would have drawn the crowds without making people laugh. That the church numbed him and dumped him down and made it be like, "Oh, that wasn't the Jesus that I knew. That's not the Jesus in the Gospels." So, what do you hope for this next year?
Wow. I hope that we all do our own work. I hope that we start healing, and I hope that people that are trapped by narcissism and pride and all these things, I hope that they wake up, and I hope that they get a chance to heal too. I don't want anybody to die. I don't want anybody to be hurt. I just want everybody to be healed. I want people to be a little bit nicer. I'm not saying we need a bunch of, you know, people walking around on tiptoes and shaking glitter everywhere. Not
No
that there's anything
Pollyannas. We're
wrong
not
with that.
requesting that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I just want people to be better, kinder. I want us to protect our kids.
Right.
I want us to love people. I want people to be able to have access to America and not through gangsters who are going to charge them $30,000 and then once they get over here make it like 200% APR on their loan and then threaten everybody back in their home country. Like, I want people that are in sex work not to be afraid of being murdered or killed in the jails
Or
or killed
raped.
by police. Like, I just want the world to be a better place. I want it to be kinder, nicer. And I'm not saying I want a gentle world. I definitely want a wild, beautiful world. And I want people to get darn about creation, man, about the earth. Like, That's my holy place. When I'm out with the rivers and the rocks and the mountains and the trees,
Totally.
like God speaks. And I don't know, we need to stop desecrating the earth.
Acting like spoiled children who destroyed their Christmas presents and just want more. Man.
It's
My
profound.
son did that one time. He threw his PS2 in the pool because he was mad at me that I grounded him for it. And I was like, well, the problem's solved now. He's like, no, you have to buy me another one. I'm like, fuck, I do. If we start really, I think authenticity is a big one, right? I think authenticity and empathy could change the entire world. If people were more authentic with their trauma, to own how we're screwed up and to say, okay, this is something I have to deal with, as opposed to making this fake, Facebook of, oh, everything's so happy. Not dumping on Facebook as a therapist either, but to say, look, I'm dealing with this right now, or I'm healing with this, and then understanding that everybody else is too. No more of this pretense of, oh, you have to be this to be loved by God, or you have to be this to be welcomed in our group or cult or clique or whatever it is. But truly authentic love and companionship and compassion, I think, would change the entire world. And some ayahuasca.
I love that. And I think about Revelation, and there's a chapter within that. It's Revelation. It's just one revelation. It's not revelations.
Yeah.
Though I heard that in the South so many times, revelations. But I think about Revelation where it says, and they overcame the world systems by it says blood of the lamb, but it's meaning like the sacrificial way of the kenosis, like the lamb that comes down and is humble, and not the beast that is like, oh, look at me, I'm the beast.
Right.
I'm huge. I have like such a big ego. I'm the beast. Look at me. But the way of the lamb, this humble thing, and then by the sharing of their testimony or their vulnerable stories, their authentic stories, right? Where they're saying, yeah, I was screwed up. Yeah, this happened to me. Yes, I was hurt in this way. And also I stand today as a champion because of the abuse. Like I walked out of that fire baptized, right? And
Right.
now I'm a slayer of fires. So I don't know. Yeah, that vulnerable storytelling, that's what we need.
I got to say, I'm surprised that you're quoting Revelation so much. It is such a hotly contested book throughout the centuries, and I've never heard it praised with love the way that you were doing so. It's really interesting to me.
It's basically an economic treatise about treating people with respect and love, and it is totally anti-empire, and I
Right.
love that. I'm just like, yeah, give it to the man. So
But yet the empire uses it to condemn us, to shame us, to do all these things. That
yeah, the powers, right? They're like, oh, this is scary. This is horrible. This is a symbolic, mystical book that was written in code as a treatise to say you're not treating people right, and you better get it right. Like you better do some justice, right? So I love it. I was big into apocalyptic stuff I have been my whole life because I was raised that way, right? With all the scary stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. When I was in seminary, apocalyptic literature and the prophets, that was my jam.
Yeah, I mean, it's even the correlation with Sodom and Gomorrah too. Again, cruelty to migrants. They were a thoroughfare and doing all of these things. So if you look at Sodom and Gomorrah and Revelation as that economic, be kind to your neighbor, it works really well together. That's a really interesting way of looking at it. I'm gonna have to ponder on that. Really interesting. Okay, I'm going crazy. I want to check the polls. So let's go ahead and close out the show. Any questions from the audience? Thank you all for being so active. Shakira, totally. They were throwing stones at me. When you have no argument, you insult the messenger. It just makes me laugh. So, and I'm used to being called a C word, so that's why I'm still on X. Little do they know that confrontation I see is love. So, there's that, because I'm still dealing with trauma. So any more questions or anything from the audience? And while those are coming through, because we've got probably about a 25-second delay, any final words and where can people find you, Bec?
Yep, I'm on the socials. I'm also at beccanford.com. Oh yeah, I see the thing about the book. The Kindle pre-orders out now. I did this little book thing. It's a memoir. Nobody wants to publish memoirs. That's fine. But if you're interested in diving into your own story about pain, I'd love for you to dive into my story too. And the paperback should hit on 11/11.
Nice.
That's for my spiritual community right now. 11/11, yeah, 222, yeah, 444. Manifest some shit, y'all.
Exactly. I love it.
Yeah.
So next week, we should have been talking about that.
No.
You'll have to come on and we'll have to do a book chat then.
We will. And definitely, I'm just grateful for you tonight. I hope that the anxiety and stress that everybody's feeling, like we're all feeling it. I hope that is alleviated, and I hope that things turn out good. And in the next day, if we find out that our hopes are dashed, in many ways, we just keep working for the good, and we just keep working for the good, and right in our little corners of the world, wherever that is, in LA or Atlanta or wherever you guys may be.
We will not be defeated. We will persist. Thank you so much for coming on, Bec. It's truly been a pleasure. And I'm not as stressed as I was before. So thank you. You have calmed the community. The conversation has calmed me. Thank you so much. You are the best. And I'm going to be your puppy, your best friend. I'm working on that.
All right.
I'm going to send you back. What's
Bye,
that?
guys.
I'm sending you backstage. Have a good one. Oh, another great show. I just love the shit out of her. And you know that when I call someone a boss bitch, it's because they are. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Shakira. Thank you, everybody, for watching and your comments. And thanks so much to Patrick Young for his continued support as the show's producer. Next week, I need to do like tongue exercises or something. My mouth is not working. Next week's show is with comedian and recovered evangelical Kimberly Ashland. It's rescheduled from August, but I can't wait to chat with her, and it's going to be a good time. Hopefully our country didn't take its last breath tonight. I will see you next week regardless. If you like the show, share it, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful week, and as always, walk in love. Mwah! See you next Tuesday. I try really hard not to say see you next Tuesday, and I did it. Thank you so much.